sorry, I got ahead of myself here. Okay, so in major structural repair, what they're looking for is an agreement within 90 days of the time that the deficiency was reported, an agreement between the buyer and the builder that a remedy is in process. That remedy might very well take more than another 90 days, but they want to see that. And if you don't appear to have resolved things in a commitment to make the repair, Tarion will step in. Sometimes they'll step in anyways. Sometimes there's a genuine safety issue and they can't wait. It simply has to be done.
Sorry, Steve, who decides the structural defect?
Well, initially it's between you and the buyer. If the buyer says, look, my windows are sticking because the frame of the house is shifted, you might say, no, the windows are sticking because you haven't maintained adequate humidity and we put in wooden windows and the wooden windows are swelling. So you got a difference of opinion.
Well, I feel it's premature to ask for a home buyer to decide the structural defect. That could major structural defects.
Well, who else is going to identify it?
Well, an engineer needs to come into play here.
Pardon?
Right away, because an engineering consultant needs to come into play because it's talking about major structural defects.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying, but somebody has to identify that there's something wrong. You can't have an engineer visiting all 35,000 houses that are built in Ontario.
No.
Every year.
His issue is major structural defect. The word itself has it's a high weight word.
You're talking about who resolves what is an adequate course of action.
No, not as a course of action.
All right.
Who decide what constitutes major structural defect? And an ordinary homeowner would have a hard time figuring out major structural defect.
You'd be surprised. The homeowner has to identify that something doesn't look right.
No, I know.
All right.
High
So
level,
let me finish. The homeowner identifies that something's not right. They get a hold of the builder. The builder either comes out and works with them on it or they don't. And then the homeowner, again, they need to get adequate advice on this. They need to get, you can't just say, Tarion, come out here because something doesn't look right. I've got a sticking window. So somewhere the homeowner has to have some accountability for identifying whether something needs a repair. Now, you're right. Between the two of them, is a homeowner capable of agreeing that what the builder offered as a solution is sufficient? Yeah, I agree with you. Maybe not, but it's on the homeowner to determine, do they need somebody else's advice on this? Because no one else can do it for them. You can't have every time. I mean, what you're missing here on this perspective is how often and how trivial some of the things are that people claim need attention. And so there has to be some onus on the homeowner to get a professional opinion on whether their house is in jeopardy. Because otherwise, what are we going to do? Every time somebody claims that there's something wrong with their house, we're going to have Tarion send out an engineer to look at it?
No, I didn't intend that. My intent was if house owner realizes there's something.
So you're right. You're right.
Funky going on with the house,
right.
And it appears structural. You got a structural person to show up.
And then get somebody, then engage somebody. They do work. They do that kind of work. Pick up the phone and phone somebody and say, I just spent $1 million on a house. I'm going to invest another $1,500 to get your opinion on whether I need further attention. I mean, the buyer needs to assume some responsibility for protecting their own best interest. You could fold this page over. I'm trying to move ahead without keeping you too long past 3:30, folks. So I'm just going to touch lightly on some of these things and try and alert you to where some of the questions are. So there are things that constitute your best effort, even if you didn't actually get the repair done. You might do an adequate repair just because the home buyer didn't agree with you, but you might still be okay on there. One of the more contentious ones is if the homeowner doesn't give you access, you can't get it done, then Tarion might accept that and say, look, you did your best. It's the homeowner's fault for not letting you in. And homeowners can be pretty stupid about that. I mean, I know this from the insurance world. People say, yeah, the only time you can come is 5 o'clock on Saturday morning. And Tarion's response to that is, no, you have to, if somebody's going to try and make a repair, you have to make the place available to them at a reasonable time, not Saturday morning at 5 o'clock. You might have proposed a suitable solution and the homeowner rejected it. One to watch out for, I touched on yesterday, is cash compensation, because that's when you get into this debate about what is adequate cash compensation. It's a bit of a tricky road to go down. And then sometimes the homeowner says, yeah, I accept this as a repair, and then they change their mind and say, no, it wasn't. I think most of this is just reinforcing things. So I'm going to try and go back now. And if you're following in the manual, look at the slide number down in the bottom right corner. It'll help you find where you are in the manual. These first few slides, they really are just repeating what I've said a number of times before. Do what is good business practice rather than being too devoted to what the warranty guidelines say. If you're allowed 160 days to make a remedy, do it sooner. Make sure that your own organization is set up to provide warranty service without it having to be a great upheaval. And you shouldn't come to too much of a problem. Deal with things in a good, responsible, professional fashion, and you shouldn't have to deal with Tarion too often. It doesn't mean that there won't be times. I'm sorry, I kind of skipped over things when I started talking about construction performance guidelines, and we should complete that. What they are is Tarion publishes what they consider to be adequate solutions or work that's reasonably well done. As an example, they have one in there for paint coverage on a wall, on an interior wall. Some people will put their nose right against the wall and they'll say, I can see voids in the paint. This wall needs to be repainted. Tarion will say, no, if you can't see the voids from something like 12 inches out, then that's adequate. Just because you can get out a magnifying glass and find voids in the paint doesn't mean that it needs to be repaired. So you should make yourself familiar with those construction performance guidelines. You should also introduce them to your home buyer. If they make a claim and the construction performance guidelines are clearly stating that what you did was adequate, then show it to them. Say, this is what Tarion's judgment basis is. Now, if you go through the process of a chargeable conciliation, this tells you how they will judge that. So think about whether you want to do that or not, or you use them to make your own deductions. The homeowner is making a claim. I'm going to see what Tarion says. Oh, Tarion says they're likely to agree with the homeowner. Well, you just saved yourself a chargeable conciliation, because now you realize whatever your own opinion is, Tarion's not going to agree with you. So you better get out there and fix it. So be familiar with those, use them. Use that, get your customers to look at them too, so they can make their own informed decision about whether something is adequate or not. And sometimes you can use it to demonstrate how you exceed the requirements. You say, here's what the Tarion performance guidelines say, and here's what we're prepared to do for you. It's somewhat better. I'm going to just go straight through here. In your binder, these things are all described, but this summarizes everything. There are a number of pieces of information that you are obliged to provide to either Tarion or the home buyer or both, and this just lays them out. There is something called the My Home application, which Tarion has on their website. It's an access point for the buyers. You are the one that has to introduce your customer to that. You say, you should be aware of this, show it to them so that they can learn what Tarion says about their this is the app that they use to submit claims and things like that. So you introduce them to it so they know how to do that. There's a different thing. The My Home app is a two-way thing where people send information, upload and download. The Learning Hub is simply a library of Tarian documents. It's a good idea to know that yourself and introduce your buyer to that and strongly encourage them to read it. That's where they're going to learn what it takes to buy and maintain a house. The agreement of purchase and sale, obviously, is executed between you and your buyer. And you have to be careful to make sure that it includes this addendum of critical dates. That's a separate document, but it has to be attached to the agreement of purchase and sale. It only applies to freehold and condominium because there is no title transfer with a contract built. Along with that, at the time of executing the contract, there's a warranty sheet. This is typically a one-page. It just lays out for the buyer what the warranty looks like. You're responsible for printing that out and including it with the contract package. Now, you are responsible for keeping Tarian informed on how to contact the purchaser. You send it to them when you first initiate a contract, and if their contact information changes, it's on you to inform them. So that's a bit of an administrative challenge for you. We've talked about the pre-delivery inspection. This appointment to designate, if that really just applies at the time of the PDI, if the homeowner doesn't attend and they want to send somebody instead, you owe it to yourself to insist that whoever that person is has a formally signed appointment to designate so that you can put that in the file and say, this person was speaking on behalf of the buyer. In the absence of that, the buyer might say, oh, well, they were just a friend. They went to, and they're not speaking for me. You want that pre-delivery inspection to be a formal agreement that says, here's what we both agreed to at the time we did the walkthrough. And if the homeowner doesn't attend and they say, I'm sending someone else instead, you want them to be bound by that. And they're only bound by it if they've come with something signed by the buyer that says, I speak on behalf of the buyer. Right around the time of that pre-delivery inspection, you and the buyer also fill out this certificate of completion. It's basically the buyer has agreed that the house is being handed over to them. You put down the date on which it happens. That's sort of the formal notification to Tarian that we have moved from the coverage period, which is pre-delivery inspection or pre-occupancy protection. We have now moved to the performance warranty phase. And then ongoing, you need to show your buyer how the warranty claim form works, how they fill it out. They submit that through the My Home app. And then there is a warranty assessment. That's what Tarian does after they've done a chargeable conciliation. So the point of this chart here is this is a summary of all the different forms of communication, formal communication that you need to manage between you and the home buyer, between you and Tarian, and sometimes between the buyer and you. Okay. We've already talked about both the PDI and the construction performance guidelines, and the point of this slide is to tell you, don't just do them because, I just noticed a typo here. Don't just do them because the rules say you should do them. There's value in them for you. PDI, we talked yesterday about the information you could extract from that, use it, consolidate them into one common spreadsheet and look for patterns that allow you to go back and fix things. Fix your process. Construction performance guidelines, I was just talking about how you can use those to assess the likelihood that Tarian may or may not agree with you on a claim. Help get out in front of that and fix it before it becomes a problem. This is just going into greater detail, and this is what they look like. They're fairly brief. They might have a few graphics below that, but that's what you get. So I'm trying to hit my 3 o'clock closing time. Just about did that. Are there any questions right now? Because I'm about to turn you loose on the exam. Those that want to write it right now.
So about the exam, like, do we have to write it just now, or can there be like 1 or 2 hours of break and we can write then?
No, you can defer it to another time, but everybody, I can't afford to be breaking off for 3 hours every time somebody wants to write an exam. So if you don't want to write it now, we have to agree on another time when people can write it. It could be Friday, or it could be next Thursday or next Friday. Those are the only days I can make it happen.
Okay, so let's do it today. I'm up for today.
Anybody want to, let me ask the question a different way. Is there anybody that wants to wait until another day to do it?
Friday for me, I gotta go get back to a couple of other items work related.
Well,
So
I can't promise you Friday because we have to agree among whoever, I know Richard wants to write it another day, so we can see about Friday, but we'll try that. We'll have to resolve a date by using email or something, which I'll start tonight. You don't have to write the exam today, but I'm doing you a favor. You have to meet me in the middle. It has to be a time that we agree on.
okay, I'm willing to meet anywhere
Okay.
if the majority agrees.
I can do
Okay.
whenever, just not today.
All right. You'll have to help me with the names of who's speaking.
I'm right.
Okay, sorry, say that again.
I'm right. Just not today. I want to be prepared for the exam.
This is Akram?
This is Ratib.
Oh.
Ratib.
Ratib?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So you're later. Let me do it this way. Rather than asking you to tell me, I'm going to go by name. So Ratib, you want to do it later.
Yes, sir.
Akram, when do you want to do it?
Preferably later.
You want to do it later?
Yep.
Kelly, what would you prefer to do?
I would like to go ahead with it today if possible.
Okay. Zubair, you want to do it another time?
No, I wanna do it today.
You're going to do it today?
Yeah.
Okay. Malik, what do you want to do?
I'll go today.
Okay, so the last three people, Kelly, Zubair, and Malik, you want to do it today. Akram, Rateb, and Richard would want to do it another day. So sorry, I'm not sure if I meant putting this, Rateb, is it, or Rateb?
It doesn't really matter.
Okay. All right. I just don't want to mangle your name, that's all.
It's all right.
And Akram, look for an email from me where we try and work out a time when you can write this.
Yeah.
And then you guys, you can sign out now.
How long is the exam, Steve?
It'll take most people between 2 and 3 hours. You're allowed 3. Most people don't need that long.
Yeah, I wouldn't have that many hours today.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
Is it gonna be online, or is it gonna be papers? We'll print it out and then we will make a test.
I've gone through this 3 times now.
I'm sorry.
The exam is presented on a web page. You read it on your
Web page.
computer screen.
Okay,
I
sorry.
will, those who are writing the exam, I will send you an answer grid as an Excel file.
Mhm.
And you either print out that Excel file and write your answers on that, or you can you can open the Excel file. If you have a second screen, you can open on that and enter your answers directly into that. But the exam is on a web page. You read the
Thank you.
question, you select your answer, and then you enter your answer on the answer grid, which you
Thank you
then
very
have to send back to me.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
thank you.
I need, you guys need to sign off now because I can't be giving you advanced access to the exam.
Mhm.
HCRA has become very sticky about this stuff. Those who are writing, you need to turn on your cameras because I need to be able to see you while you're writing. And in a minute, we'll get you teed up with that. I need a minute or two to send you the answer grid. So if you want to go and deal with phone calls or get a tea or something like that, feel free. And we'll give me 5 minutes to get this set up for you. Okay.
Hey, Steve, just want to say thank you for the course.
Sure enough, we'll be talking. About. Let me ask you this: Is Friday? What's your preferred day? It sounds like you guys might prefer Friday.
I'm open to Friday.
Okay. Okay.
Me too.
Rateb, Friday? So I'll try that on Richard and see if we can set it up. Morning or afternoon matter to you?
No.
I'm gonna try for Friday morning then.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
I'll get back to
Okay.
you. Okay,
Have a good day.
you guys can sign off.
Okay, bye.
At the end of the exam, the marks, do we get that right away or we have to wait? Like,
It'll be a day or two before I can get you your marks.
okay, fair enough.
Okay. I'm sorry, Malik, I think I might have skipped right over you. Are you writing, do you want to write now? Do you want to carry on?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm going to write now. Yes.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, like I said, give me 5 minutes to get you the answer grid, okay? I'm gonna send that as an email here soon. Okay, folks, I'm gonna send this to you now. Now, while that's coming to you, I'm going to tell you how to open the exam. So go to, if you would please, go to mmiproservices.com and maybe just let me know when each of you gets to that web page.
Okay.
Okay, Zubair, did you open it yet?
Yeah, I'm there.
Malik, are you there yet?
Give me 1 sec. Okay, I'm on the homepage.
Okay, the third tab over called programs. So hover over that and it'll open a menu. And when that menu opens, go down to, it's the third from the bottom, exam, customer service, and Terrain procedures. And when you open that, it will ask you for a password.
Okay.
Okay, and that password is all capital CSW 1221. CSW space 1221.
Oh, give me a second. See.
Yeah, I'm inside.
Okay,
Okay,
you can see
yeah.
the exam.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you repeat the password? Where was the space?
It's sometimes you have to scroll down just a little bit to see that where it asks you for the password.
Okay, and what was the password again?
It's capital,
Mhm.
all caps, CSW 1221.
Okay, so I am having some issues here. CSW is there a
Space.
Space, sorry, I missed that. You got to leave a space between them. CSW space 1221.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, now, by now, I would hope that my email got through to you. There's an Excel spreadsheet attached to that.
Got it.
Okay,
You
yeah.
can- Pardon?
Yeah.
You can either print that out, write your answers, there's a space in the right-hand column. Write the answer in as the letter. You select the letter from the web page that you believe is your answer. And you can either put that up, some people have a second screen, you can put it up on your other screen and enter it directly into there if you like. If you do that, then please save it as a file with your name in it. So because sometimes people don't have their name on it, it can get lost in the shuffle. Save it with your name on it. Enter your answers and then save it, obviously. And then you can email that back to me. Or if you don't have a second screen, probably the best thing to do is print it out, write your answers in, and then scan that. And please scan it as a PDF, not as a JPEG or something, because the borders always get cut off with photographs. And if you're having trouble opening it, let me know. Not everybody opens Excel files easily.
Should we start?
Yeah, you're free to start. There's a couple of things I should caution you about.
Yeah.
And you'll see it as the first question. If you look at the first question, at the end of the question, it says indicate all that apply. There are a few questions in here that say that. What that means is more than one of the answers is correct. And you have to give me all of the letters for all of the correct answers. I'll share with you that for question 1, there are 2 correct answers. You have to pick which 2.
Oh, okay. I see.
So when it says select all that apply, there could be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 correct answers. It's your job to choose all the correct ones. Okay.
Okay.
Now, I generally go through the exam, and just to be sure that sometimes there are sort of topics that I didn't get into in enough detail. And so bear with me a second. I know you're anxious to get going, but it might be worth taking a couple of notes here. You should be aware that just because a project is profitable, Tarian looks at other things as well. You expect the project to be profitable. Some people just assume that Tarian will approve it. Well, remember, we talked about whether you are being too ambitious or not. So there are reasons other than your projections of profit that could affect whether Tarian approves your project or not. Let me keep going. There's always a couple here that I flag. I already told you that one of the answers about how many days you have to make a repair. There's a question there about whether, and it's more a caution that I didn't get into, that you should be careful that your pricing, that you shouldn't be too aggressive in cutting prices because you feel desperate that you need to get a job. If you cut your prices to the point where you have to cut back on your ability to satisfy a customer, that's not a very intelligent thing to do. So be careful that you don't cut prices to the point where you then have to cut the quality of the work you do. That's not going to do you any good. Remember, the customer today is your sales force tomorrow. And I think that covers what I see as subjects I didn't adequately talk about in the subject. So I'll turn you loose. It's 3:30 now, or well, no, it's 3:25, but we'll give you until 6:30 as your 3 hours. Okay. I don't think it should take most of you all of 3 hours, but don't be alarmed if it does. Okay. I'll be around. If you have a question, sing out. I may be in another room and it may take me a minute to get back to you. Malik and Kelly, I need you to turn on your cameras, please, because I need to be able to verify that you're there.
Sorry.
And that no one else is in the room with you. Okay. All right, that's good. It might be wise for you to mute your microphones unless you want to talk to me.